Hello and welcome. Class is going to be focused on hip mobility. So differing from flexibility, we will work to get into different postures and positions without the leverage of using our arms to get further and really focusing on our muscles activating in a lengthened position to get us there. So with these different movements, you may notice that your range of motion isn't quite as perhaps as big as it typically is if you were to use your hands, your arms to help as leverage. With that being said, let's go ahead and make our way down onto our backs. Now as you arrive, you can let your knees be bent or legs go long, whatever allows your body just these first 10 seconds to start to sink in. Check in with just physically how you're feeling in the moment. And more specifically, how your hips are feeling. Is there a lot of tension as the legs are extended or bent? And we'll just take here a couple of deep breaths together. Start by exhaling your air out completely. And take a deep breath in, breathing in all directions of your body. So the front, the sides, the back, and holding at the top of your inhale. Notice if you filled up your chest, and if so, can you relax your shoulders and breathe into your belly more? Hold. Slow, steady exhale, breath out, release. Feel everything soften and drop back into center. You might even feel your torso almost kind of sink down towards whatever's below you. 2 more breaths here. Inhale again, breathing lower into the belly, the sides of your body, the low back. Pause at the top, hold, relax your shoulders, let go of tension, and slow, steady exhale, breath out. 1 more breath here. Deep inhale. And slow, steady, lengthened exhale out. Bottom of your exhale. If they aren't already, let your eyes open, bend your knees, connect your feet down onto your mat or whatever is below you, and just let your knees start to sway side to side like windshield wipers in a car. So both are gonna move to one direction. Both will come back to center and then move to the opposite direction. And just a couple more times here, side to side. You can go as fast or as slow as you would like here. As you arrive back to center, pause there. So without the support of your arms, draw your right knee up and in towards your chest. And just a few times here, plant your foot back down, hug your right knee up and in. Noticing if your hips want to elevate up off the mat. 1 more time here. Notice if this feels really tight and tense or if it feels pretty easy. And then plant your right foot down. You're going to roll to the outer edge of your right foot for what's called a half butterfly. Just checking in here briefly with how your hip feels as you externally rotate it, as you turn it open to the right. And then bring your right knee back to center here. Now let your left foot take a bit wider position away from the midline and let your right foot heel toe to the right. Let your right thigh drop inward. So now we're taking the opposite rotation that we just did outward to now you're turning your right thigh inward. So I'm going to speak to the thigh. However, we're really thinking about this taking place and originating within the hip joint itself. So again, turning inward, notice if there's a discrepancy or difference between external and internal. And then go ahead and just come back to center. Now, last kind of check-in before we move on will be right knee hugging up to your chest and extending it straight up towards whatever's above you. And just paying attention as you bend and straighten from knee to chest to that up into whatever is above you, extended position. Notice here how this feels in the back of your right thigh. So more specifically here, now targeting with this extension of the leg up, the back of the thigh, the hamstring. You may not have a fully straight knee, that's okay. 1 more time here. And then release your right foot down. Same thing other side. So we'll start with just hugging the left knee into your chest and then release your foot back down to that bent knee position. Hug in and release. A couple more of these, paying attention to your breath as you're moving. You can think inhale, hug into your chest. Exhale, release back down. One more time here. Once you plant your left foot down, half butterfly, roll to the outer edge of your left foot, and then just feeling how this feels as you turn open in the left hip. You might even take a peek, notice the elevation of the left hip, or the ability to drop the outer thigh down. Back up to center. Now right foot's gonna go wide just to create some working room. And then inch your left foot kind of towards the long edge of your mat. Roll to the inner edge of your foot and drop your left thigh inward. Pausing here, feeling perhaps what you feel on the outer hip, on the front of the hip, the groin. And come back up to center. Feet come back to hip width distance. Again, left knee back into your chest and then extend straight up. Knee bends, so giving here on that length of the hamstring, then taking as you extend your legs straight up. Couple more here, comparing and contrasting from how right to left. Here, hamstring back of the hip feels. Last one. Release your left foot down onto your mat. Now, just taking a mental note of left and right side of your hip, how they felt. And we are going to shift some attention now up to your pelvis, up to your low back. Why this is important is that pelvic stability helps to allow the hips to function more optimally, as well as low back. If you tend to be one that has low back tension, this can be a great way to open up the low back, activate the deep abdominals, and then allow the hips to function better. So, as you inhale, I'm gonna move my arms just for a visual. So watching here the space between the ground and me and my low back, these first couple movements. Now you can listen, or again, you can watch and then go into it. So as you inhale, increase the arch of your lower back. Now how you're gonna do that is allowing your pelvis to actually tilt forward. So as we increase the arch of the low back, this might feel like a very familiar position for you. Obviously exaggerated here, but maybe this feels kind of how you feel throughout the day. Then as you exhale, you're gonna take the opposite motion. You're gonna press your lower back towards the ground by rolling the front of your hip points towards the ground and then pressing your lower back into the ground. So as you press your lower back in, what you don't wanna do is lift your hips up like bridge. You're just gonna isolate this motion to your lower spine as well as your pelvis. Now inhale again. Turn the front hip points of your body towards your thighs, increasing the arch of your lower back. So if you were to slide your hand, you could probably feel a little space or a big space between you and the ground. Exhale, turn the front of your hip points down. Continue here. We're gonna be here for about 10 to 15 seconds. So I'm gonna quit talking and you're just gonna allow your breath to be the guide of how fast you move with these pelvic tilts. But again, great here motion to help loosen up the low back. Just another 5 to 8 seconds here. When noticing if one motion of the hips moving forward or back is easier than the other. If you have low back tension, this can be a great way right away in the morning, even before you get out of bed, just to start to move the lower spine. Okay, the next time that you exhale and start to press your lower back into your mat, you're gonna keep that position. Now, how we can keep that is by activating deep abdominals. So as you inhale, expand into your ribs. And as you exhale, pull the front of your abdominals down. Imagine as if you were blowing into a balloon or a straw. Keep that press of the lower abdominals down. So again, working our stability here, deep abdominals. Now lift up onto your heels. Again, you don't want to lose this contact between you and the ground at your low back. You're just going to start to let your heels walk out a couple inches at a time, alternating until your legs go into a fully straight leg position. Now with lower back down, legs straight, we are opening up the front of the hip flexors. Slowly walk your heels back. Don't lose that contact here, that pressure of your low back to the ground beneath you. Now exhale breath, walk the heels out. Really pull your belly button down. Inhale breath, walk your heels back in. And just continuing to move with your breath. So you're working again that extension outward into a full straight leg lying down position as you exhale. Then as you inhale, you'll just bring your heels back again, inch by inch or couple inches at a time until heels are directly underneath your knees. Let's take 4 more of these, out and back. Check back in with your lower back. Make sure you didn't lose here that contact. If you did, cinch up the front hip points like you're gonna lift them to your nose. Press your lower back down. Finish off this next movement. And when your knees are bent back over your ankles, just land your feet, your toes back down. Hug your right knee in, but again, don't use your arms. So right knee is gonna hug into your chest, and then right leg will go long up towards whatever is above you. So straight leg. Now left leg, if you have tight flexors, hip flexors can stay bent, or you can extend your left leg long, left heel to connect to the ground in front of you. So first here, position. Again, knee might not be fully straight. You may have a lot of bend here, especially if your hamstrings are tight. We're gonna give and take here. So bending the knee is gonna lessen that stretch, and then pressing the heel up, working to straighten, is gonna increase it. So let's pump the heel kind of to and from your torso and away, just for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, whatever position of the knee allows you a little bit of stretch, but it's not overdoing it, keep that. You're gonna let your right leg go open to the right, working the action of keeping the leg straight. Now, as far as you can go where you're holding it, you have to actively here hold the leg. You're not just letting it drop to the ground. Left side of your body as well, if you were to take a peek up, you want this side of your body to be down, not going with your right side. We're just gonna hold here 2 deep breaths in and out. Now you can always hold longer, especially if this feels like something that you can work with or you need to work with for your body. Bottom of your exhale, bring your right leg back to center. Now without the support of your left arm, you might need to reposition the height of the left arm. Bring your right leg across the left side of your body. For a spinal twist with your right leg still working straight. Hold for 2 breaths here. Right shoulder and shoulder blade, drop it down towards the ground beneath you. Deep breath, breathing in all directions of your body. Exhaling fully out. Back to center. Hug your right knee into your chest, rebend your left knee if it isn't already. Right ankle will rest onto your left bent knee for a figure 4. Now you can stay here, you can sway side to side a little bit with this. We're gonna come back to this figure 4 shape in just a moment. But again, either stay or one more time, side to side. Plant your right foot down. Now same thing, other side. Left knee is gonna hug into the chest. Bend and straighten your left leg. We'll just be here for 5. Working the action of straight, whether or not it does not matter. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Find the position that feels like it's lengthening for you, but it's not overdoing it. You can still easily breathe. Slowly here, drop your left leg open to the left. Now your right leg again can stay bent or it can be straight here, depending upon what feels the most beneficial for your body. If it's too much, you can always rebend, even if you didn't on the other side. Slowly lift your left leg back to center. Now your right leg is gonna go long and guide your left leg without the support of your hand, just guide it across your body, controlling that rotation to the right. Again, leg is working the action of straight out to the side rather than letting your heel drop towards your right foot. Arms open to a T, left shoulder drops down. One more breath here. Bottom of your exhale, back to center. Rebend your right leg, left ankle, right bent knee, figure 4. Rock this shape side to side just a couple times or stay at center. Coming back to focusing on your breath. So as you are working mobility, flexibility. It's so important. Even in an intense workout, it's so important to pay attention to what's taking place within your breath. What you don't want at any point is this gritting your teeth and holding your breath, because that can create here tension in places you may not want it to be. Also, it can create more rigidity within the muscle themselves, your body, which can create here a little bit less mobility. All right, back to center with your legs. Plant your left foot down. We're gonna come into glute bridges. So glute bridges, differing from just a traditional lift up here, we're not going for height. So lower back down. Take an inhale breath, breathing in all directions, especially in the belly, the ribs, the back. As you exhale, imagine as if you were blowing into a straw, drawing the front of your abdominals downward. Press into your heels and slowly peel the back of the pelvis, the tailbone up, and then lift up without increasing any arch of your lower back. Drive through your heels. Inhale, slowly roll down. So from the highest point you feel the mat or the ground underneath you, roll all the way down till the back of your tailbone, your pelvis lands. Then as you exhale from the tailbone, your pelvis start to peel up, segment by segment, driving into your heels. Inhale again, lower. Now make sure you're not clenching and squeezing your glutes. You want to think about on the inhale, giving here, relaxing the muscle. Then as you exhale, drive through your heels. So that push really creating the activation. And that's similar to if you were running, if you were walking, that push off, that extension of whatever leg is behind is really what creates the activation. We'll be here for about another 10 seconds. So you're just lifting and lowering, minimal, if any, effort of your low back. So if you could keep your low back as still as possible. Drive through your heels. Toes are an active part of our balance, so we want our toes down, but more weight is pressing into your heels. Another thing to check out, look at your thighs. Make sure that your knees aren't splaying wide. So with that wide knee position, what's happening is we actually activate some of our rotational glute muscles instead of really gravitating towards utilizing the glute muscle, our big glute muscle right at the base of our seat that helps with extension and activation. We don't want to overwork those little rotational ones. Okay, last couple here. Thighs just straight out in front of you. As you lower down, release your lower back, right ankle to left bent knee, figure 4. Now you can stay here if this feels like a decent amount of intensity for your right outer hip. Otherwise, without the support of your hands, you can lift up onto your left toe, keep your right thigh rotating forward though, or you can pick your left foot up entirely. Now relax your shoulders. If you want to give and take, you can come out of this at any time, land the left foot back down, and then pick back up. But we're going to hold for 10 seconds here. So deep breaths in through your nose, expanding your ribs, your lower belly, your back. And exhale fully out, gently drawing your lower back towards whatever's below you, making sure that you're not here arching at your low back, especially if this is intense. Just softening into this shape. Right thigh continues to draw wide and forward. Make sure you're not letting it gradually start to cave towards your chest and towards the left. Last 4 here. Focus on your breath, not the intensity if this is an intense stretch for you. Last 3. 2. And 1. Release your left foot, release your right foot. Now left leg's gonna go long here down onto your mat. Hug your right knee in and draw it across your body. Second time here, spinal twist. Really think about here lengthening the outer right hip as well as the base of your spine. 1 more breath in here. Full, complete breath out. Back to center. Plant your right foot down, bend your left knee, and left ankle to right bent knee, figure 4. Now you can stay here. You can pick up onto your right toe. You can pick your right foot up entirely, bringing this shape towards your upper body. Any sway or movement that allows you just to be here in this, welcome it in. Come back to focusing on evening out your breath. More often than not, when we're told to breathe deep, we take a really deep inhale that tends to come from our chest, our collarbones. And instead, we want to think about breathing into our lower belly, our ribs, the back of our spine, and then letting our exhale be just as long, if not longer, than the inhale. Bottom of your breath out, release your right foot, release your left foot. Back down onto your mat. Right leg will go long. Your left knee is going to hug in and across your body. Again, don't support your knee across your body. We're not using here our hand as leverage. You're just rotating to that natural point that your body kind of wants to land. Right shoulder, draw it downward, or left shoulder. One more breath here. Bottom of your exhale, untwist back to center. Both knees will hug in and up to the chest, and then just rock and sway, massaging out your low back. So any feel-good rock of the knees, you can plant your feet down, coming back to that windshield wiper motion. You can let kind of one side of your torso, your pelvis, fully lift off. You could even work some of the hamstring lengthening by kicking your foot out. A couple more of these, just feel-good movement. If you're really tight, this might not feel super great, but just bringing some here. Movement to your mid-spine, your low back. Back to center. And as we come back to center here, just make your way all the way up into a seated position. Now from that seated position, feet are going to go wider than hip width distance. Knees will bend here, and you're just going to take, hands can rest behind you. You can pick up onto your heels if you would like, but you're just going to start to rotate your hips. So minimal, if any, motion of your pelvis. So you're just rotating side to side here. So this is what's called a 90-90 rotation. Aiming for that 90-degree bend on both sides, side to side. Next time that you drop in both directions, make our way onto all fours, tabletop, hands and knees. So as we arrive up into tabletop, hands and knees, shoulders are right over your wrists, hips over your knees. Now your lower belly, your spine, try to keep it somewhat as is for this whole movement, and try not to let it dump downward. So we want to think about hugging lower belly up and in. Now you're going to pick your right foot up, right knee up. You're just going to press your heel up until you feel the base of your seat activate. Then you're going to hug your right knee forward to tap your tricep. Back around, push up, draw it forward. Just 5 here. Lower belly, hug it up and in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step your right foot outside of your right hand. Curl your left toes under, lift your left knee. We're coming into what's called runner's lunge. Come up onto your fingertips and then just rock a little bit forward and back. Now your right foot, you can angle the foot. You can drop the back of the pelvis kind of down. You can bend and straighten your front leg. Just 3 here. 2 and 1. Drop your left knee back down. Right foot is going to drop back to meet your left. Come to your tabletop. Same thing, other side. So from tabletop, pick your left foot up. Don't let your lower belly dump. And draw your left knee forward towards your left tricep. Back around. Push your heel up. Wide and forward. For 4. Keep moving with your breath. 3, 2, and 1. Step outside of your left hand, runner's lunge on the other side. Come up onto your fingertips. Again, you can just pause here. You can angle your left toes. You can go forward and back, bending and straightening. We're just here for 4. Evening out your breath. 3, 2, and 1. Drop your right knee back down. Left foot's gonna step back to meet your right. Now from tabletop all fours, take your hands, walk them out from underneath your shoulders and shift forward to a knees down plank. So knees down plank, the only difference from plank, if we were to curl our toes under, lift our knees, would be our knees are dropped. Starting to take a little bit more fluid motion with that runner's lunge. So your exhale, you're gonna lower down to a halfway or all the way down push up. Then as you exhale or inhale, you'll push up. Send your hips to your heels. Now curl your toes under as you exhale. You're gonna rock forward, step outside, right hand, right foot, runner's lunge. Inhale, step back, knees down, hips to heels. Exhale, step forward. Opposite foot steps outside of hand. Inhale, step back, plank, drop the knees. Hips to heels, exhale, other side. Runner's lunge. Step back, plank, drop your knees down, send your hips to your heels. Exhale, other side. Keep alternating side to side. You're here for 5. Then we'll come back to that low push-up in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shift it forward. Exhale, lower to your low push-up. Inhale, push up. Send your hips back to your heels. Pause in child's pose. So your forehead can come to your stacked fists. It can come directly down onto whatever surface is below you. But just start to focus on your breath here. So you'll stay down in your child's pose variation just for another 2 breath cycles. Bottom of your next breath out. We're gonna meet belly down onto your mat. So you'll come to lie down. And as you come into belly down here, hands will plant underneath the fronts of your shoulders. Your inhale, elbows hug into the sides of your body. Draw your sternum, your chest up. Open up through the front of the chest. So lifting from your ribs, your chest, little to no weight in your hands, but you are pushing away. Exhale, release back down. Press up, knees down or knees lifted, plank, followed by downward facing dog. So hips are gonna lift up into a upside down letter V shape. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, you might have quite a bit of bend through your knees. Keep working in your down dog here. I'm gonna come out of it as I talk just a little bit. So again, if you have tight hamstrings, you may need to bend the entire time in your down dog. Let your pelvis really sway right to left here and lengthening out your breath. Full, complete inhales and long, steady exhales. Bottom of your next breath out, just drop down onto your knees, find tabletop all fours. Now coming back to that activation of the base of seat, so shift your weight into your left knee. Inhale, right heel kicks up, but don't let your lower back go towards the mat, pull up and in. As you exhale, runner's lunge, step outside of your right hand. Curl your left toes under, inhale, lift your left arm up. Exhale, release your right hand back down inside of your right foot. Now heel toe your right foot between your hands, coming into more of a traditional here lunge position. So foot is between your hands, back heel is elevated, little bend of your back knee. Inhale, lift your torso up to a high lunge. Now back knee can bend as much as you need, especially if you have a tight hip flexor, so front of the hip. As you exhale, lean forward, reach your arms back. Now take a peek at your shoulders. Shoulders we don't want to be forward. If you could think about kind of a spiral or a rotation of the outer upper arm bones wide, shoulder blades squeeze, draw down your back. Lower belly pulls up and in, bend your left knee, push off your left foot. Balancing on your right leg, you can always lower the left toes for a little bit more stability. Now a couple times just bend and straighten your right leg. Right heel, big toe, little toe. Like a tripod, push into those 3 points evenly to help with balance. Slowly here, your left knee is gonna draw forward, one-legged mountain, arms lift up. Now you can always drop the left toes down. As you exhale, right hand will grab your left knee, left arm's gonna open your torso up to the left. Take a full breath in here. Full breath out. Untwist. Land your left foot, sit your hips back, chair pose, arms extend alongside your ears. So as you exhale, step through that tripod of your right heel, big toe, little toe. Your arms come down, your left heel squeezes behind you like a hamstring curl. So squeeze and hug heel to seat. Inhale, sit down chair. Exhale, your arms come down, opposite heel squeezes up. As you lift your heel behind you, don't let your back arch. Think about hugging your belly button back. We're here just for 10, Keep moving with your breath. 8, 7, 6, last 5, keep going with your breath. 4, we'll meet in chair pose in 3, 2, and 1, chair pose, inhale. Now exhale, one-legged mountain, left knee is gonna lift, arms will stay alongside your ears. Back here, arms will bend alongside your body. Now left leg, I'm gonna turn sideways, stay as you are though. Left leg is gonna be out in front of you and you're gonna start to just move your left leg in all directions. Now right leg is gonna bend, it's gonna straighten. What you don't want though as you move your left leg is for your right thigh to come with you. Think about hugging this right hip crease back, staying in the heel of your right foot. Again, get your arms moving, torso moving. So why this motion is important is we're creating here and training this outer right hip to stabilize in one-legged positions. Anytime that you run, that you stride, you're in a moment of one-legged position, and what we don't want as we're in that is our pelvis to kind of go side to side. All right, last 3. Keep moving your left leg. 2, and 1, back to your chair, inhale. Now exhale, release your arms alongside your body, just stand up. Take a deep breath in, reach your arms wide out and up. Exhale, breath, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, back to your chair. Exhale, stand up, release your arms alongside your body. Hands are gonna come to your hips. One more here movement stability work we'll do is right leg is your standing leg, left leg will bend behind you. Now your inhale breath, you're gonna let your pelvis dump to the left as much as possible. As you exhale, press through your right heel and hug the left hip back up to level. Inhale again, without letting your right leg bend, you're gonna drop the left side of the pelvis. Exhale, hike it up. Press through your right heel. If you have a block, a thicker book, this can be even more effective on a heightened surface with the standing leg. But we're just gonna be here for another 8. Again, letting the pelvis dump, hiking it back up to level. Little to no bend in the right leg. Outer right hip on that hike up. We wanna think about hugging the center line and activating your outer hip for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to standing. Just release your left foot to meet your right. Find your chair pose, bend your knees, sit your hips back. Now shift your weight into your left foot, your right ankle, bring it to your left bent knee, figure 4. Hands can come to the center of your chest. We're gonna give and take here. So opening up the right outer hip now. You can sit back, come in and out of this. Hands can even be to the hips as well. Last 3. 2, we're gonna hold here the bend of the left leg, sitting back into this figure 4, in 1. Pause here, 2 deep breaths. Weight's heavy into the left heel. Last breath here. Now your right foot is gonna step back into a low lunge, so land your right toes, then land your right knee. Now right knee is just underneath your right hip here. What we don't want is the pelvis forward. You wanna keep hip right over the knee. Now your left hand, bring it to your low back. Your right hand, bring it to the back of your head. With your left hand at your low back, pull your belly button back. And again, just like we did on the ground when we rolled the front of our hip points to press our lower back into the mat, same action here. So think about your front hip points turning back, pressing your lower back into your left hand. Keep that, lift up and over to the left. Big full inhale, breathe into your right side body, right outer hip. Exhale, back up to center. We'll be here for 8. Again, keep drawing your belly button back. Last 6. Left hip as well, heel push down. Don't let the left hip kind of kick out to the left. Keep it hugging the midline. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come down to frame your left foot. Now your right foot picks up. Last and final here, outer hip support we're gonna do. So your left foot is gonna angle and kind of walk to the left. Your right hand is gonna come down underneath your right shoulder, left hand to left hip. You're gonna turn onto the outer edge of your right foot. Now your left foot can inch more to the center of your mat here, and you might even just hold here, kind of dip the hip down, lift up. We're here just for 4. You can sink all the way down if you would like, maybe even look over your left shoulder for 3. If this is too much on the wrist, you can completely eliminate this. We're gonna meet back in down dog in 2. And 1. Left hand comes down, step back, down dog. Any feel good pedal of your feet. Take a deep breath in and full, complete breath out. Drop down onto your knees, tabletop. Same thing, other side. So keep the lower belly hugging up and in. Lift your left knee up, push your left heel straight up. Don't let your low back dump though. And then draw your left knee to your left tricep. Runner's lunge, step outside of your left hand. Curl your right toes under, lift your right knee. Now square your pelvis to the front of your mat. Inhale, pick your left hand up, rotate open towards your left thigh. Exhale, release your left hand back down. Wiggle walk your left foot between your hands. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, airplane pose, lean forward, reach back. Now deep bend through your right knee, push off, balance on your left leg. Left big toe, little toe, heel like a tripod. We're gonna bend and straighten the left leg. Just for 4. Belly draws up and in, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, one-legged mountain. Right knee comes forward, arms lift up. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. Right arm back behind you. Left hand will grab your right leg. Rotate open. Full breath in. Full, complete breath out. Back to center here. Chair pose, sit the hips back and down. Now inhale in your chair. Exhale, left foot is your standing leg. Heel, big toe, push down. Right heel is gonna draw behind you. So think of that hamstring curl. Inhale, chair. Exhale, other side. Side to side here, 10 seconds. Opening up the front of the hip crease here as we hug heel behind us. Last 4, 3, back to chair pose in 2, and 1. Now shift your weight to your left foot. Slowly, one-legged mountain, right knee lifts, arms lift up. As you exhale, find that running in place. So left leg is now your stability. Again, try not to keep it straight. You're gonna bend it. Right leg can go forward, it can go behind. Arms are gonna go in all directions. Helping to just work the uncontrolled stability. So it's not just a robotic motion. When we move in all directions, our body has to adapt to find our center, our balance. Keep going here. Make sure you're not holding your breath. If you fall out of it, come right back in. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, reach your arms wide out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Chin draws into your chest. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair, bend your knees, sit your hips back. Exhale, breath, shift your weight back into your left foot. Hands come to your hips. Now we're gonna find here that hip hike. So again, hands to hips, right leg bends. As you inhale, you're gonna drop your left hip as much as you can. Exhale, hike it back up. Again, even if you have a little bit of a heightened surface underneath that standing leg, it can do wonders to really get that outer hip working. But we want to think about as we hike back up, left outer hip hugging the midline. Last 8. Moving with your breath to inhale, drop down. Exhale, pull your lower belly up and in as you hike up. for 5, 4, back to chair pose in 3. Don't let your lower back here start to arch forward, hug it back in 2. And 1, chair pose, inhale, sit your hips back. Now shift your weight into your right foot, exhale, figure 4, left ankle to right bent knee. Hands can come to your chest, they can come to your hips. So we did this figure 4 in our back. We're gonna give and take to start. So kind of coming in, sinking down, and then lifting out of it. So by giving and taking, we can sometimes bypass that natural reflex within our nervous system to protect and hug and tighten our muscles. When we give and take here, our body doesn't have that ability to want to react quite as much. All right, next time you sit it low here or sit back, hold. Keep working the left thigh forward and kind of out to the left. Just how it naturally wants to rotate, not forcing it. Last 3, 2, and 1. Step back with your left foot and drop your left knee down. Take a peek, make sure left hip is just over the left knee, right hand to your low back, left hand to the back of your head. Inhale, up and over. Press your lower back into your hand behind you. So think about that almost kind of rounded low back. Exhale, lift back up to center. For 8, 7, 6. Try not to let your pelvis droop forward. Keep your right knee right over your ankle. Press through your right heel, opening up the hip flexors, the outer left hip, side body. Last 3, 2, and 1. Release to a low lunge. Now left hand or right hand will come to your right hip. You're gonna rotate your right foot kind of wide, roll to the outer edge of your left foot, and then again you can reposition the right foot. Now if this is too much on the wrist, again, your alternative straight to down dog, we're gonna sink the hips down, flexing the left foot, push down, lift back up. For 4, 3, listen to your body always, make any adaptations. 2, and 1, release to a down dog. Step back. Take a deep breath in and full, complete breath out. Drop down onto your knees and send your hips to your heels for child's pose. Forehead can rest down onto your stacked fists once again. And just slow your breath down here, opening up your low back. 1 more breath here. Shift forward, tabletop all fours, and just come to seated. As you come to seated, just hug your knees towards your chest. We're gonna rock and roll all the way down. So just rocking forward and back, massaging out your spine. And once you come to that natural kind of stopping, right back onto your mat how we started, lying down. Knees can be bent or legs can be straight. Let your feet just relax, let your arms come alongside your body. And come back to deepening your breath. 3 breaths here just to end. As you inhale, try to breathe into your lower belly, the sides of your body, your back. And slow, steady exhale, breath out. 2 more breath cycles here. Thank you so much for moving, breathing, and just overall checking in with your hips. This is something that you could repeat multiple times if you would like to lengthen out this routine. Otherwise, one time will get you moving and more connected to your hips.